Hello everyone. Thank you for the brief introduction. I'm very grateful for giving us this great privilege to share our dream with you today. My dream is about peace, human rights, freedom, and non-violence in my country, Tibet. And my dream is peace in Tibet in particular and the world in general.
Hello everyone, I'm Noorullah Zafari. I have lived through war all my life. After 25 years, the war is over. We don't want war anymore. Now we have a dream that every Afghan wants. We have suffered problems, hunger, and starvation. Now we have a dream of change.
Tibet is one of the most oldest civilizations in the world. It was invaded by China in 1959, and it was as large as Western Europe, a place with unique culture, history, and identity. Tibet has been changed dramatically by the Chinese occupation and immigration.
Look at this innocent girl. What do we feel? This girl has thousands of desires and wishes. What will happen to her wishes? She doesn't have enough food, education, proper housing. She was born and she will die in this place. What did she do to deserve this plight? Imagine being in her shoes.
Poverty is also an issue in my country. Have a look at these children. The parents cannot afford to buy them toys. They have to play with the refuse of society. Because Tibetan people are treated as second-class citizens, they are condemned to live in poverty, and most of the jobs have been taken by the Chinese settlers.
This Afghan has a message. We don't have access to education, good food, and all other things. At least we should have a good water supply and access to fresh water. Can we live without water? No. I am 10 years old. I should be studying and having fun. Many of my friends lost their lives because of polluted water.
Every year, thousands of Tibetans go into exile in search for a better life. Most of them are children, and I was one of these children. I crossed the border to India when I was only 7 years old, and this is how I got the opportunity to go to school and learn my own language. And this is how I became who I am now.
This picture tells you about education in my country. We know the value of education in modern life. What about them? They don't have access to education. What will happen to their future? They have a question. Do we have the rights to have education? What do human rights mean to us?
Both the Tibetan and the Chinese language have a long history and rich literary heritage, but the Chinese government is assimilating the Tibetans by imposing their own language into schools. I feel very strongly that Tibetan people have the right to learn their own language without any interference and disturbances.
This child has hopes that someday someone will give him clothes, food, clean water, and a proper house. This child will never know about technology, democracy, development, politics. How could he? Because when his basic needs are not even met.
In Tibet today, our unique culture is facing the threat of extinction. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, a cultural genocide is taking place. The peaceful Tibetan culture is disappearing inside Tibet. For an example, people in Tibet are no longer allowed to have the picture of the spiritual leader, Dalai Lama.
We don't have proper job. It's difficult to get a job in my country. The situation is getting worse and the people are getting poorer and poorer. Can you see this man carrying a bag of wood? This is his source of income. What do you think? Is it enough to feed his family? No.
Look at this Tibetan girl. She is growing far away from her homeland and her relatives. Can't you see the innocence in her eyes? She will find out later, or sooner or later, what it means to be a refugee and what it means to be an orphan. How can you find a future?
This slide shows you the situation of Afghan women who live in rural areas. It's impossible for them to fight for their rights, as women worry all the time about poverty, hopelessness, and lack of education. The situation is getting so serious that some Afghan women have burned themselves to death.
Tibet is situated at the heart of Asia and is one of the most environmentally sensitive regions in the world. And its natural resources are being depleted in order to fuel the booming Chinese economy. And our forests and rivers are at threat. For example, Our unique species like panda and Tibetan antelopes are on the verge of extinction.
This is Gulsum, a 17-year-old girl who tried to set herself in fire, but who, against the odds, survived with terrible injuries. Many of Afghan women have committed suicide due to this terrible situation. Hope I see some changes before I die.
I have a dream that one day all Tibetans have the right to live in Tibet peacefully without being brainwashed, without religious restriction, without cultural assimilation, and most importantly, without destruction of Tibet's fragile environment. I'll keep on dreaming of that day, hoping someday I will see my dreams come true.
I also have a dream to bring back a smile to my people's face, a dream of better future, a dream to sustain peace and justice in my country, a dream of equality particularly between men and women, a dream to build up a sense of humanity and to bring the light of wisdom and optimism to my country. We have a dream to improve our living standard,
Dream to build our country,
dream to bring peace and justice,
dream to build friendship with all countries,
dream to fight against poverty,
dream to fight against corruption,
dream to bring education and fight against ignorance,
dream to express ourselves freely and fearlessly,
dream to give full rights for our sisters, wives, mothers.
dream to achieve brotherhood and unity.
We have a dream. Free Tibet and peace in Afghanistan.
Thank you.
you.